Introduction: a repeatable model for building world-changing products. For more than a century, building world-changing products seemed to be reserved for a small group of visionaries such as Henry Ford, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and Richard Branson. These leaders were lionized for being able to set monumental goals and knowing just how to achieve them. They seemed to have an innate gift for being vision-driven. It was clear that to succeed at building world-changing products, these leaders had a vision. Most organizations have learned from this and have vision statements. Yet taking an idea from concept to reality seems elusively difficult, and only a few organizations and individuals seem to have a knack for delivering visionary products. Despite knowing that it's important to be vision-driven, it's easy to default to being iteration-led. If you've ever experienced being iteration-led in an organization, you know that it feels like you're tinkering and focusing on the short term, but ultimately missing out on the large-scale opportunity. It turns out that a vision alone isn't enough to be vision-driven. It requires a new mindset. To understand the difference between vision-driven and iteration-led, consider the development of the 737 MAX, which had to be grounded worldwide in March 2019 after two newly delivered airplanes crashed within 5 months, killing 346 people. Boeing's 737 platform first entered airline service in 1968. After 40 years of iterations on the 737, engineers at Boeing knew that the plane was nearing the end of its lifespan. Its low frame, which was a highly desirable feature in the early days of manual loading and unloading of cargo, was now limiting the size of the engine that could fit under the wings. Even in the 90s, Boeing had to make increasingly desperate attempts to fit larger engines on the 737. The engine in the Next Generation series, for example, had to be egg-shaped to fit under the low frame. At this point, Boeing could have pursued a long-term vision and committed to designing a completely new airplane to replace the 737. But on the heels of having invested billions in research and development to develop the new Dreamliner, it was tempting to keep milking the 737 cash cow, Boeing's best seller since the 70s. Boeing management delayed addressing the market demand for a new, narrow-body aircraft. In 2010, arch-rival Airbus filled this void with the A320neo, which offered 20% better fuel efficiency. When American Airlines, Boeing's biggest and most important customer, decided to add the A320neo to its fleet, Boeing had to act fast. In August 2011, Boeing decided to create the 737 MAX by iterating on the existing 737 platform. While engineers rolled their eyes at having to upgrade the 737 yet again, it seemed to address Boeing's short-term business goals. This iteration would allow Boeing to launch a certified product in roughly half the time and at 10 to 15% of the cost of designing a new plane from scratch. But giving the 737 larger and stronger engines wasn't a simple task. The 737's low frame required engineers to move the engine forward. Unfortunately, this caused the plane to become dynamically unstable. Its nose tended to tip upward, which made it prone to stalling. To get around this, Boeing developed an automated anti-stall system, the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, MCAS, to point the nose downward when the plane risked stalling. Ultimately, the MCAS was blamed for both the Lion Air and Ethiopian Airlines crashes that resulted in 346 fatalities.